welcome to this live event on YouTube and Facebook. I'm Marco Branzanti, I'm CTO here in AxelTech. I'm currently in Bologna, Italy, and as you know, there's a big broadcast show for all broadcasters in Dubai. It's called Cabsat, and we're going to connect with Dubai, where Simona Lippi is there for us. Hello, Simona, how are you?
Hello, Simona, how are you?
Hi Marco, I'm very well, very happy to be here in Dubai in order to attend Cabsat, our very first exhibition in 2 years. I'm here with Enrico.
Hello everybody, ciao Simona, ciao Marco.
Enrico. So thank you Marco, thank you Enrico for being with us today for this live event. So we already did a nice presentation this morning for the early bird.
Yep.
And now today, this afternoon, we are going to replicate it. Enrico, I would like to start. Today we talk about the new features and upgrades on our TV product. So mainly our bestseller software, XTV and YouPlay. First of all, we are switching all of our turnkey solution to Dell.
Yeah.
So Enrico, can you please explain why this choice, which is a major upgrade, and what will be the benefit for our customers?
Okay, we decided to do this major upgrade on our turnkey units. The two products involved today are XTV and YouPlay, where in the old range we are using now Dell as a standard computer, and with a lot of benefit. The first of all is the form factor, which is one single rack unit. Not only it provides much more reliability thanks to the dual power supply available on the units, including also USB-C interface, a powerful CPU i9 9K series, then not only also dual LAN card 1 gigabit and 10 gigabit, and 3-year warranties from next business day directly from Dell.
From Dell, yes.
So this is a major update that we decided to introduce.
What about the price?
The good news is that the price remains the same.
The same.
So definitely, that's a very good news, a good improvement in terms of reliability and the powerful of the turnkey unit itself.
Yeah, we added some big value, I would say, on our turnkeys offer at the same price, so the very compact price that we had before. So Marco, would you like to add something concerning this subject?
Actually, you explained it very well about the features, and what I can say is that we've been partners with Dell for many years now, installing mostly Dell servers, and Dell reliability is very high. So I can assure all our customers that the improvement will also affect the reliability, but also the lifespan of the units. I have Dell servers still powered on after 15 years, so this gives an idea how good the machine is.
Thank you. Let's switch on the software. Okay, so I would like to introduce all the updates that you worked on in the last months. I know there is a huge list of them. So, would you like to start from what's in common between the two softwares? So, what we developed for both XTV and YouPlay?
Yes, thank you, Simona. I'd like to start with development regarding an IP streaming format. As you know, all our products, XTV, YouPlay, but also the multi-cross converter and many other products have IP output possibilities. As you know, we are actually using an ingest to stream to YouTube and Facebook in this moment, and the protocol which is used is RTMP. RTMP is still used, but it's going to go in end of life live soon. Like there's a big OTT provider in the United States called Roku, which actually does not accept RTMP anymore, and they want newer protocols. Then, like if you're watching Facebook, for example, the RTMP is then transformed into an Apple HTTP streaming, which is HLS, while YouTube uses another format, which is MPEG-. So the news is we added MPEG- to the long list of IP formats which we do. I'll show you on XPlay Out in the IP streaming section. What we have, of course, is the RTMP streaming, the UDP, the SRT, which is becoming more and more popular. It's quite modern. It's a low delay format. The older RTP and RTSP, IIS is Microsoft, and here we have it. This is the Apple HTTP live streaming, known as HLS, and this is the new one, the MPEG- streaming. So the idea is always to keep up to date the products and be more and more compatible with third-party applications, and this specifically applies to the XPlay Out, but also the XIngest, the YouPlay, the multi-cross converter, the DLG Plus, and almost all softwares. Why? Because in all our softwares, we usually insert an IP feature as well, even though it's not that necessary on a CG product, for example, but it's there. So that's one of the major developments.
Nice, very nice. So let's switch and change our subject. Let's move to XTV. As you might already know, XTV is a suite, so it contains many different tools. Shall we start, Marco, from XIngest? What did you and your team make in order to improve XIngest this year?
So XIngest actually is a capture platform to ingest files, usually from SDI. What we did, since the XIngest is able to use the GPU of the video card to encode in H.264 and H.265, this allows multiple instances of the recording to stay on the same machine. So for example, on that Dell that we were showing you, you could actually capture up to 8 HDI, SDI signals using the GPU. So we had a lot of requests and systems requests that we actually supplied in the last year regarding logging possibilities, and of course multiple channel logging possibilities. So we decided to extend the XIngest capture into a workflow that is good for the logging, 24/7 logging. So what did we do? First of all, 24/7 capture, and never ending, let's say, segmenting of the video files at 1 hour, as we usually do in logging, and when we switch to the new files, we don't lose any frame in between. So it's a, let's say, accurate file switching. Then, of course, syntax of the files, which have the date inside, and the syntax is exactly like our older logging products, which is the DML, which did not go in end of life yet, but it could go in end of life in the near future. And then a routine inside in order to delete the older files in order to actually obtain the, let's say, the loop recording on the same machine. So in this case, also we added a layer of graphics also into the capture of the ingest in order to overlay, for example, a watermark, but most of all a timestamp, which is typical in logging features, let's say. Then, on the XIngest, we also added a very nice section, which is the alarms section. Why? When you're doing 24/7 capture, you want to keep your process monitored. So actually what the system does, it monitors if there's video, if it's black, if there's any freeze in the video, if the audio is present, and it also keeps track of the file which is ingesting, so instant data rates and average data rates. all these parameters are monitored all the time. You can actually, and then they can be notified through notifiers, and notifiers include email, SMS, and other type of notifiers, for example, and you can actually select in which way you want to be notified when something goes wrong. So with these features, the X-Ingest actually enters the catalog also as a multi-channel logging software.
Great, Marco. Thank you for the very nice explication. I would like to recall to the people that connected just now that we are live from Dubai attending Cabsat. Me and Enrico are here for the second day of Cabsat, and Marco is at our premises in Bologna. We are connecting through our multi-cross converter, so another nice tool that I would suggest you to
we won't explain today, but it is used for live connection.
Yeah, very nice subject. And Marco is explaining to us all the updates that we have in our main TV products, so XTV and YouPlay. Now, if you have any question, you can always please just click on the bell here above and send us the questions, doubts, anything through the live chat. And also please do that if you are connecting through Facebook. So Marco, can we move on and go to Xscheduler, which is another important tool of the XTV suite?
XTV Suite is actually a collection of softwares. There are 13 softwares inside the suite. Of course, the most important one is the playout, which is XPlayout. Then we have the X-Ingest, which is the capture, and we've already talked about that. And then we have the Xscheduler. What is the Xscheduler? It's actually the module which allows you to make a playlist offline from your computer. By the way, it's a free software, so you can make next Saturdays or next Sundays playlist directly from your own PC in your office. So what did we add? Well, usually the interface of Xscheduler allowed you to load and save playlist files exactly as if they were like Word files. So you can make a long playlist or a short playlist, and you can save with whatever name you wanted. Here we implemented a parameter that you can activate, which actually transforms, actually uses an automatic naming syntax. So we actually have a calendar, and we just load that day's playlist. So each playlist actually has a date and is saved in a folder structure with a specific naming syntax, so you don't have to specify the name or choose the file loaded. And then what we do is we actually can save we can save the playlist, and the playout can automatically load that day's playout according to the date. So you can make the playlist for 1 month, for example, and the XPlayout will respect the same naming syntax and load automatically each day the playlist for you. So it allows continuous playout for very, very long playlists. I wanted to say something regarding the multi-cross converter that we are using. In this case, the multi-cross converter is a bidirectional communication. So not only I am seeing you, but also you are seeing me over there. And most of all, we're using a technology in this case, which is called WebRTC. It's a technology based on a Google protocol, and we are just using the broadcast video, high quality video inside that protocol. And the major advantage, it has a very, very low delay. So we can actually, start a conversation and you don't hear the usual delays that sometimes you hear on TV. So that's why the application is very, very interesting. Just a few notes. We have a customer which has a radio studio in Paris. He also has a studio in Moldavia and one in Romania, and he's actually bringing 8 cameras to the central radio, and they're doing N-1 on their consoles, and it looks like it's the studio just next door. Very, very effective and very nice. Sorry for the interruption.
No.
Makes sense.
It was great actually, and it's very nice, very smooth. Now for the first time I am on the other side. I mean, normally I'm totally outside of the camera view, but I can assure you that is talking to Marco these days is like talking in the
face
same,
to
as
face.
if we were in the same room. So very nice, very smooth connection. Now Marco, we are working a lot. I mean, you and your team are working a lot in order to improve the integration between our XTV suite and any third-party software. What did you do in order to improve the scheduling part? I mean, the import from some traffic, other traffic software.
As you know, of course, we have our own playlist format, which is called XSC, and they are generated from the X scheduler, and they, of course, are imported into the X playout. Also, the X playout can actually save playlist in the same format. It's a very simple format because it's a ASCII format with text inside. It's almost like a INI file, INI, but of course, it's a proprietary format. So we invented it and we use it, and some things are especially custom for our architecture. So we had many requests from our customers which wanted to use the BMS, which is the playlist manager and the playlist creation software application that they use in their own country. This is quite typical because maybe there are local developers which, you know, put into the software specific needs for that customer or that particular region of the world. So what we did is we implemented a CSV importer, which is a comma separated value, very simple, let's say a ASCII file, a text file, but we also inserted an XLSX file, which is a Microsoft 2017 format. And this allows the third-party software to actually create the playlist and import it directly into the X playout. Sometimes the column names that we call headers, these names are different from the names we use into the X playout. So there's a specific configuration file to specify in the X playout, which actually defines the header mapping. So maybe the title or the gender or the start time has different names into the BMS software, and with this mapping you can actually associate the right data, and so XPlay can interpret it. For example, here if I go into the playlist manager and I see I have Europe, Sunday, and this is a CSV file, just clicking on the CSV file, the XPlayout is actually able to import that file. Of course, then we create as-run logs, and the as-run logs are exported into a CSV file. Then the BMS can actually import for a procedure that we call reconciliation. The interesting thing is that we have 4 fields for reconciliation. This means that the BMS can put a unique ID to a specific program. When the program goes on air into the as-run logs, we will also put that same ID, so when you import again your as-run, your reconciliation file, the BMS knows exactly what has gone on air and can do what usually BMS do. They print out their as-run logs, they use them to count advertisement and how many advertisement to bill to their customers and so on. So what does this mean? That now XPlayout can virtually connect to any third-party playlist creation software.
That's great. I think this is a big news for many of our customers. So let's stay on the playout. I mean, talking about X playout, which is the core, as you already told us, of our XTV suite, because it's the playout, of course. What's new on X playout besides what you already described?
Let's say that there are a lot of changes. Imagine that we build a version practically every week. Most of the implementation are small, some are bug corrections, of course, because the software gets more and more reliable and better. What I want to say, we did a huge development in what we call triggers. What is a trigger? Well, the triggers are used to send signals or switches to third-party systems, and usually they are used, let's say, this is a typical request, to do what it's called advertisement splicing or advertisement splitting. That means that the main program, when it sends an advertisement, sends the trigger to the local playout in order for the local playout to actually put on their local advertisement. So what did we do? Well, the first implementation is regarding a GPI protocol. So we can use a Moxa. Moxa is a brand of GPI equipment. We use the Moxa EOLogic E1214, which has 6 GPI inputs and 6 GPI outputs. It's not expensive, and that's one way of sending out your triggers. The input triggers will be used inversely for play, pause, skip functions inside the playout. The second one is DTMF technology, which is kind of interesting. The DTMF are tones which are generated into the audio channels, and it's the typical beep, bop, beep, bop, beep that you can listen to. Actually, this technology is still used in the United States, and it is used to inform the local broadcaster that that's the moment in which the advertisement should go on air. So that one and you can decide, this is interesting, which channel, audio channel, to air it on. So it could be the same stereo channel that goes on air. In this case, the user will actually hear it on air. Actually, I remember in the hotels in Vegas when we go to NAB and I switch on the TV, I could actually, on some channels, I could hear the DTMF tones for the advertisement splicing. And or you can use alternative channel, maybe channel 3 and 4, which are still transported to the local station but are not put on air. And then the last implementation regarding triggers are SCTE implementation. There are 2 standards for this. SCTE 35, which is a standard used for streaming. So this is if you want to go to OTT broadcaster, which actually needs to put his own advertisement when you put on your advertisement, the SCTE 35 trigger will actually inform in which point that advertisement will go on air. This is the same technology, by the way, which is used by Facebook and YouTube to insert their own advertisement in the middle of the videos that you are watching. And then we have SCTE 104. This is a technology more broadcast related, and it sends those same triggers using SDI ancillary data. So it's something that travels on a SDI video. So as you see, the implementations that we're talking about in XPlayOut are not regarding the features of the playout. Why? Well, we have decades of development on the software, and the software is very, very complete and has most of the features that you want of a playout software. So now we're concentrating more on the rest of the world, on how to connect our software with third-party systems in order to make everything work, let's say.
That's great. I think that this is a very, very nice focus, and as always, I would like to say we love to focus on the customer's needs. So all these features that we developed just came from some requests that we accept, and so we are always, I would say, willing to receive your feedback because they are really precious. And Marco, I would have to say,
sooner or later,
always very, very open to listen to your needs, and if you are asking for something that can be important also for other people, we love to use
to include it as a feature, native feature of the software.
Yeah. So Marco, what about the news on the CG? We also improved some nice new tool on the CG part of the XTV suite.
Correct. The basic theme of today's live show is actually integration, with third parties. So I'm just going to show you this, which is kind of nice. I have a CG composer here, but this feature actually is for all our CG products of the line, the DLG Plus, the CG Live, and all the other ones. This is a template with several tickers, or better, several crawls on the bottom. It's coming out right now. Let's see. Here they are. So you see this China politicians and all the text that you see in the tickers actually comes from a specific file. In the past, or better, before the implementation, we would import this text from text files, TXT, CSV files, which are comma separated value, and XLSX files, which are Excel file. Excel file being the nicest one because we also import back color, front color, the font name, and the justification and other parameters. So of course XLSX is the best file to use, but there are many customers which get their data from third-party systems, like for example a system which gives you the stock quotes. In that case, we implemented new formats to get that data in, and the formats are XML files. So now we import directly from XML files. If your system generates that information and the data in XML, you just point to the file. Whenever the file refreshes, that data will be updated directly on air. Then we support JSON files. Why? Well, simply a lot of data is being transported in maybe on a web page, and on that web page there's a JSON file, and that's where we get that data from. And the last one are databases. So there's a number of databases, also SQL, that are compatible. So this means that if your data generating software has a database, you can connect to the database, choose the fields that you need, and then simply map them to the ticker or the crawl, and they will go on there. So integration with third-party systems in terms of file formats compatibility.
Great, and we are also adapting to, of course, the time that we know is still, even if we are attending an exhibition for the first time, I love to recall this, but there are a big part of the world is still working from remote or still in lockdown in the worst case scenario. So we also improved, in this sense, our YouPlay software, Marco, with a remote control, isn't it?
Yes, actually YouPlay is actually our production server, production player server. So it is used with a video mixer and an audio mixer, and what YouPlay does is sends your stories and your movies to the mixer, you mix them with cameras and microphones, and that's your show. It's used for news or entertainment. It's a multi-channel system. You can build a 4-channel machine, which can be 4 players or 4 recorders, because the YouPlay software in the server version is bi-directional. And maybe you send with the first player, you send it to your video mixer. The second player, you can send it to the video and have something running on the video wall. On the third player, maybe you have a nice animation, a full screen animation that you use as background when you do your picture-in-pictures with Milan, New York, and you have your guests talking from all over the world. And maybe you use the fourth one to just do the capture and capture your show to later do a rerun. Actually, what we did is we implemented a full web GUI as a remoter, and you can do whatever you do from the Windows GUI, you can do it from the web GUI. This actually was more a proof of concept, actually, like a concept car, Why? Because usually when you do this type of production, you don't really need the web interface. But it was one of the most complicated web interfaces because YouPlay has a lot of buttons, a lot of features, and it's actually made to work in real time. So let me show you. So this is the web GUI. And as you see, I have my previews, I have my view meters, I have all the buttons with the playlist and all the interaction that I have in the normal GUI. I have that also with my YouPlay. So it's the beginning. Let's say that we use the YouPlay and we made this web GUI, which is actually included in any YouPlay installation package, but it's also our benchmark, let's say, to actually start putting a lot more web in a lot of other AxelTech applications.
That's great. Great news. So Enrico, I believe that all the people that are watching us are asking now a big question. So how can we get all these new features, all these updates Can you answer that?
Oh yes, sure. For those that are already running with our software, simply download and update it. In particular, for those that have our support and update contract active. For the new customers, all those features will be included inside the package, and so those features are available for the entire market and for any customer.
Of course. So our suggestion would be to always maintain your software up to date, because as Marco already clarified, we like to work on them constantly. So there are many updates every month, I would say. So if you are update with the remote assistance and software update contract, you are not going to lose any of them.
Let's say that hardware sooner or later gets old, and there's new hardware coming out. The IT technology keeps developing all the day.
Yeah.
And so I think the real value is the software, and we really care about our software, and we keep updating and putting new stuff in it to maintain it at the top level.
Definitely. So tomorrow we are going to have other two nice sessions. We will see what's new on our turnkeys, and there is a lot on them also. I would like to thank you, Marco Branzanti, our CTO from Bologna, and Gianluca Righi, who is our director of all these nice events, and Stefano Grego, that is organizing them. I would also like to thank our colleague Cristiano Cinelli, that is in Bologna, and Ilaria Malucelli, that is also attending Cabsat here in Dubai with us, and he's helping us because the booth is always very crowded, luckily. And so thank you to all of you that are attending these events. You are a lot. And so we are very happy to do that. Yes, and we also enjoy it.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Of course, if you follow us, it's better. In order to always follow up, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, because you're going to receive all the news, and we are going to connect with you a lot in the following weeks with a lot of new videos. Okay, little clips, little content about the new products that we are launching during this Cabsat. So thank you again for being with us today. See you tomorrow, and ciao Marco.
Ciao, thank you all. Ciao. Ciao.